The Green Frontier Fest also had a series of speakers. Daryl Hannah was one of them, and I don't know where I was when she spoke, but I missed her totally. They also had a couple of other people. They had invited the mayor Hickenlooper, but he could not attend, and so they sent somebody in his place. But one of the really good speakers, and I only caught the tail end of his speech, is a gentleman by the name of Van Jones, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't know who he is. And there were a couple people in the audience that I kind of leaned over to and said, "Who is this guy?" And they couldn't tell me either. Anyway, the most important and powerful thing that I think that he said, he was talking about the political candidates and the differences between the energy plans and environmental plans between McCain and Obama. And in a nutshell, he was saying that the conservatives or the flat earth people who want to deny global warming, that they've become what he calls dirty greens. And these are people who have given up trying to confuse, and I wrote down the quote here, so I hope you don't mind if I read it out. They gave up trying to confuse us about the problem of global warming, and now they want to try to confuse us about the solutions. So basically they've gone from denying global warming to saying, okay, global warming, yeah, okay, it's going on, but here's how to fix it. And so the solutions that they're offering up, again, these are the dirty greens, is they're trying to push the unsustainable technologies, and this is the suggestion, or the dirty greens are suggesting that we should continue to use fossil fuel-based energies to address our energy needs. And this is important. These are ways to frame the argument. These are ways to look at the issues and the problems. And so when you hear candidates on the right side of the political spectrum saying, "Oh well, yeah, we need to do sustainable and renewable, but we still need to drill and we still need to dig for coal, and hey, let's push forward with the nuclear." We have to remember that these really are old technologies. These are things that we really need to be aggressive about letting go of. And we need to be aggressive about embracing the renewable energies. So it was a great message. It was a great festival. One of the things that's really fun about these festivals, and I don't know, maybe this is still the child in me, is that there's always free giveaways. And I came back with a very big bag of stuff, and if I don't pace myself this week, I'm going to have to get another suitcase. Anyway, there was one vendor that gives away these organic, they call them cookies, but to me, I ate about 3 or 4 of these. They're actually more like a chewy granola kind of thing, very dense, very heavy. Again, I had probably 3 or 4 of these, and that was basically what held me for lunch, that and a couple of bottles of water. Also, there were some people that were giving away, there's a lot of organic skincare products and cosmetics and that kind of thing. And there was one vendor who was giving away sunscreen, and this is what they were giving away. These these are great sizes because they fit in your pocket or they fit in your suitcase, and so it was really great having this, especially because it was so sunny out. And of course, there were people there with Obama buttons and T-shirts and things like that. And that was another thing, a lot of organic cotton kind of T-shirts, and I think I wrote that in the beginning of the blog. So anyway, one place where I purchased a T-shirt also had some stickers, and I couldn't resist picking up one of these. You've probably recognized this, and this is a sticker I'm going to bring home and see if either of my kids want that. And of course, that's because Obama's message has always been of hope. And what was amusing is that they were also selling these. So we've got hope, or we've got nope. Anyway, so it was really a great event. We pretty much were done with it by about 3 o'clock or so. Again, it had been a long day. We knew we had to get back to the hotel room and get cleaned up for tonight's event, which was the DNC's welcoming reception to all the delegates. So we fortunately had a friend who agreed to drive downtown to Denver and pick us up. There were 5 of us to pick us up and drive us back to our hotel. And this is actually quite a distance. Anyway, in order for him to find us, we had to go meet him about 6 blocks away from where we were. And it just so happened that as we were walking to the meeting place 6 blocks away from the downtown area, um, we encountered some war protesters. And it was kind of interesting. It was very peaceful, but it was the typical, a lot of homemade signs and stop the war and, some, expletive to Bush and expletive about war. A lot of Code Pink kind of people there. What's interesting also is that that the Denver police, and I think it's probably city police, county police, there were mounted police. It looked like there were like SWAT teams there. I mean, the law enforcement were out in droves, but they kept their distance. I mean, they didn't interfere or block or disrupt the protesters in the least. And the protesters all seemed in a very upbeat mood and very happy, and they were certainly exercising their right to free speech, and it was all done in a very really relaxed atmosphere. I haven't had a chance to really watch any news to see if any of the mainstream media has been reporting on any of the protesting, and right now in Denver, downtown Denver, it's really been fairly minimal and fairly quiet. However, because tomorrow is the start of the convention, we do totally expect the protest to pick up. But anyway, back to tonight's event. Tonight was the kickoff, the welcoming reception that the DNC put on for us, and it was held at the Colorado Convention Center downtown. It's very dry here, which is why I keep coughing. And it was, we had to have tickets to get into that, and, only the delegates and certain credentialed guests were allowed to go. So, we got our tickets, and they picked us up at the hotel and drove us in a large bus downtown. And we went into the convention center, and it was an open bar, and they had free food, and it was themed New Orleans in honor, to honor what New Orleans has been through since Hurricane Katrina destroyed it just a few years ago. So they had a jazz band with the Mardi Gras costume people, and they wound in and around, and it was great. It was like a little mini parade inside the convention center, and then they went up on stage and played music. They had some guest speakers, and of course one of the most notable is Howard Dean, chair of the Democratic National Committee. So I enjoyed hearing him speak, and again, it's all very welcome and rah-rah, and we are really together this time, and we're going to have a great convention, and we're going to win in November. But one of the souvenirs that I think just about everybody who went to this decided to bring home was this. It's a bottle of beer that has the Obama logo on it. So everybody's calling it Obama beer. This is a huge bottle of beer, and let me show you kind of the sign. Whoops. The sign on the side, time for a change. Anyway, it's a huge bottle of beer. I can't drink this, and certainly not in one sitting. I ended up drinking about half and pouring the other half out, but I'm going to be bringing that bottle home because that's going to be a fun collector's item. Anyway, tomorrow is the kickoff. We have our delegate breakfast for the Florida delegation here in this hotel. That starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. We have to pick up our credentials before we show up to that. And then after that are caucus meetings and other events and luncheons and just all sorts of things. And so I'll blog about that tomorrow.